My brother died in September. Every time I say it, it still feels like a nightmare that I can't wake up from. You know those dreams that you have, and then it feels like someone or something is pressing on you, and then Jesus or the blood of Jesus is on the tip of your tongue, and it's kind of like it's stuck in your throat, and you just can't scream. That's how it feels. I don't know, this is the most difficult thing I've had to go through in my life. Grief is such a humbling emotion. It has so many layers. And the first thing is, nothing can prepare you. Nothing can prepare you for grief. My brother was ill for 4 years before he passed, and he started getting better at some point, but the few months before he passed, he was in a lot of pain. He was in the hospital for months. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, and like nothing prepares you to lose a loved one. Nothing. It doesn't matter how sick they are. It doesn't matter. Like you're just not ready. When I heard that he had passed, and I mean I'm out of the country, so I couldn't see him and I couldn't say goodbye. I still remember hearing myself like scream and cry when I was talking to my friend who shared the news with me, and the sound of my own voice still haunts me because it was like I've just never been in that place before, and it was such an agonizing thing, and I wasn't ready. It was a gut punch. I could never have seen it coming. He'd had a bunch of surgeries. He was in hospital, so you'd think that it would be something that I was ready for, but I wasn't. And I think that's just the thing about grief, is that nothing prepares you for it. You're never ready to lose somebody that you love. Grief silences you. It makes you question the things that you thought you knew. It humbles you. One of the ways that I'm experiencing this is with regards to prayers. I used to be the kind of person who could pray for hours. I find that these days when I want to pray, I just sit there and I'm like, okay, what should I say? I don't have any words. And even in conversations these days, I'm just tired. I want to talk, but I don't have anything to say. I don't know what to say. It's a weird, I don't have context for the emotion. I can't explain why, but I just know that in situations where I would ordinarily have been more vocal, I'm just more quiet now as my brother passed. I think one of the hardest layers of grief is the guilt. Is the flood. I felt this flood of guilt since my brother passed, and it's because I used to be really hard. I was really hard on my brother, because I come from a family of overachievers and workaholics, so like we're always trying to do something more and it's just who we are, right? We're not trying to one up anybody or compete with anybody. We're just always striving for excellence. And I just used to always be on my brother's case about how he had to do this, learn this skill, do this, just aim higher and do better and all of that. I remember even when he had his first surgery and the guy was just trying to get his life together, and I was already telling him, oh, you have to learn a tech skill, oh, you have to do this, earning dollars, don't just spend all your time watching movies and just being on social media, you have to improve yourself and all. And I just feel like I feel so guilty now. Like, did my brother know that I loved him? Did he know that all of that I was doing is because I just wanted him to be his best self? I just wanted him to live his best life. I just didn't want him to not fulfill his potential, because I knew he had great potential. But I'm not sure if I told him that I loved him enough. I'm not sure that I don't know. It's such a lot of guilt that I'm dealing with, because I remember there's always being hard on him and always just wanting to motivate him and just push him to do more, that I feel like I don't know if I told him enough that I love him. I don't know if I told him that I was proud of him. I don't know if I spent enough time telling him that he was special and he was a fantastic person. And that guilt just I know eventually, I mean, I'm gonna have to deal with it. It's just that right now I feel so bad because I'm like, did he know I loved him? I didn't say enough. I know for a fact that I didn't say enough, but did he know that even in all my attempts to optimize him and make him better, it was just because I loved him? Another hard one is the fear. When one person dies, the next thing you're thinking is, oh my God, I cannot go through this heartbreak again. I cannot lose another person. And now you're stressed and scared about, please God, don't let anybody else in my family die because I can't take it. I remember this quote that grief is love with nowhere to go. And after losing my brother, that quote makes so much sense because I feel such an overwhelming love for him now. And I'm so proud of him, and I remember him with such fondness, and even the things that he did that annoyed me, I'm looking at them now from a positive point of view. All that's left, the only thoughts that I have towards my brother are the thoughts of love. I don't remember the things he did to upset me. The strongest image I have of him was of when he was a little boy, and there was this t-shirt he had, parole for president. It was this t-shirt, the words were written in red, white and blue, and he had like the most beautiful dimples. That's the image I have of him, and that's of my brother as a little boy in all his purity and all his innocence. I feel such an overwhelming love for him, and it's just, I think another hard thing about grief is that it never goes away. I mean, you get better, you somehow find a way around it. I remember seeing an image on social media one time about how grief is like a ball in a bottle, and then the bottle just expands while the grief kind of shrinks, but it's always there. I mean, my brother was by far the most interesting member of my family. Like almost all the stories of my childhood were about him, so I know for a fact that I couldn't forget him even if I wanted to. I remember my mom saying that people were telling her to move on and all that. I told her that, well, this is not a pain that is going to disappear completely. It's always going to be there. It's probably going to shrink and get smaller and smaller as time goes, but it's a big loss. There will never be another Timileyin Shotubo, Timileyin Modola Oluwamu Shotubo. He was a special child. He definitely kept us on our toes, and everybody, the nearest to the farthest family members, from the extended family members, wherever he went, you just had to know he had arrived. He was such a bright, shining light. It's hard to believe it's past and that he's not here anymore. But as much as the memories can be painful, but they're also good memories, right? Thank God for that when a person passes, they don't disappear from our mind. We can still think on them with joy and love, and I mean sometimes pain, sometimes sadness, but that's okay. My mom was saying, oh, I should stop crying. I'm like, well, I don't see anything wrong with tears. I don't see them as a sign of weakness. I see them as just a necessary means of processing your emotions and your feelings and situations. So I don't have any issues with crying. So there will be tears. Hopefully not bitter tears for too long, but I remember him. I remember his smile and how he used to laugh, and how I used to call him Iye, because one of our nieces used to call him that. And he was a really sweet boy, so I will miss him. I remember when he first passed, and I was kind of, obviously shattered, and I was dreaming about him, and I begged God that please, I don't want to dream about my brother. Like, I already am thinking about him like in waking life. I don't want to have to deal with that. And for the first few weeks, I think God just gave me a little relief and didn't let me dream about him as much. But I had a dream about him like a few days ago, and then yesterday too, and just realized like my brother was a very big part of my life. He was my immediate younger brother, and yeah, he's always, his memories will always be here, and the pain of losing him is gonna shrink, but it's not gonna disappear completely, and I'm just finding a way to make my peace with that one day at a time. And the final thing about grief, the ugly truth about grief, that, well, nothing prepares you for is that life has to go on. Life has to go on. We have to move on. We have to, just put one foot in front of the other and move. There's no standing still. And it just makes me feel some type of way that, your entire life can fall apart and everything can grind to a halt. But one day, eventually, you're going to have to pick yourself up and move. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I don't exactly have a choice, right? We can't have a public holiday every time somebody passes. It's just how life is. And for me, sometimes, when I catch myself laughing and just having fun, I'm like, is this right? Should I really be having fun? Should I really be laughing? Should I really be playing right now? It's not that I want the pain to last. It's almost like I feel like there needs to just be some kind of event to show that something this big happened. But unfortunately, c'est la vie. We have to just move on. Life moves on. So I'm doing this video in memory of my brother. I know he's not watching over me like people say. I'm a Christian, so I know when people die, they die and then they resurrect on the last day. My brother will go to heaven, but he's not watching over me, so I don't believe in that. This video is dedicated to him. Either ways, my mother's sweet boy. I actually don't know what to say and how to end this video, so I'm just gonna let it be an awkward silence until the video ends.